What's up, everybody? If you like the content that you see here, we cover things from anime, video games, movies, comics, and we do a couple of live streams every once in a while. And I also do showcase art from time to time if you're interested in that too. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss a thing, and let's get into the video.
I'm not your boss. I am your king.
What's good, everybody? I hope everybody's having a good day, a good week, and I hope everybody had a good Memorial Day weekend. And today we're going to be talking about a more controversial topic that I know a lot of people are heated about, angry about, and frustrated about for the past few months, and that is the Black Superman movie that was announced a couple of months ago. And since we have a little bit more information, I wanted to give my full thoughts on the situation. I know there's a lot of heated debates on this. There's a lot of good arguments, there's a lot of bad arguments, and there's just a lot of ignorance in general. So I just want to give my 2 cents on the situation, and let's get into it. News first broke out a couple of months ago. I was a little bit mixed on it. I said that Henry Cavill needs to be in the suit and cape a little bit longer before you even think about doing a new Superman reboot. But at the same time, I said that if you are going to be doing this does not need to be in continuity with the current DCEU. You need to do a Calvin Ellis or a Val-Zod story set outside the world of the DCEU, which I still think that they're pretty much doing. But when it was announced that this will be a Black Clark Kent, I reiterate, a Black Clark Kent. Not Kal-El, not Calvin Ellis, and not Val-Zod. Clark Kent. I sort of got a little heated because this was sort of what I feared from the get-go. That I feared that they're going to take Clark Kent, they were going to race swap him, and this is the Superman they will be going with going forward. Now, personally for me, it didn't make a whole lot of sense, because this is J.J. Abrams, and J.J. Abrams' first choice for Superman when he was working on a Superman movie back, I think, the early 2000s, his first choice was Henry Cavill, and I would think that he would still want to work with Henry Cavill since he was his first choice anyway. But turns out that wasn't the case. Now, he's not necessarily directing this movie or writing this movie, he's just producing this movie. Who's writing this movie is Ta-Nehisi Coates, and from what I've heard from this guy, he is not favored by any of the comic book fandom. Not the black comic book fandom, not the white comic book fandom, nobody. He's not favored by anybody. He's not liked. And from what I've heard, it's politics. First of all, I'm not a political channel, so don't get the wrong idea, but just the stuff that he believes is just doesn't need to be in a Superman movie. Black or white Superman movie does not need to be in a Superman movie at all. You need to take him off as the writer immediately, because those two were the 2 strikes against this movie already. J.J. Abrams and Ta-Nehisi Coates. J.J. Abrams sort of lost my trust when it came to Star Wars, though I do love all Star Wars movies equally, and I gravitate more towards the outside media of Star Wars. He did lose my trust with those movies. But when it comes to those two, they were already the 2 strikes against this movie. The 3rd strike is if this was going to be a Black Clark Kent movie, or it was going to be using the other Superman of color, which is Calvin Ellis or Val-Zod. Which, if it was Calvin Ellis or Val-Zod, I wouldn't have any qualms with this movie at all. I would be perfectly fine with it. I would be perfectly okay with it. But since we have the news that this will be a Black Clark Kent movie, I am not okay with this decision. But when it comes to the ignorant arguments that I do hear, I always hear the fact that Superman can't be black, Superman shouldn't be black, and I don't think we should ever think that way. anybody can wear that shield, and Krypton is filled with people of different skin tones. Don't get me wrong, I don't support a black Clark Kent. Superman is iconic. He has an iconic look to him. Black Clark Kent is not something anybody should support. But a black Superman should not be anything that people should just knock down instantly. It's okay, anybody can wear that shield. I don't have a problem with that. Personally, I do think they should use a character that's not Superman related, but Superman-esque, which is Icon, a character that Dwayne McDuffie created back in the 90s and early 2000s, and is a movie that a lot of black comic book fans and a lot of comic book fans in general are clamoring for instead of this movie. I personally will take that movie over this movie any day of the week. And DC is somewhat going into the right direction in producing a Static Shock movie, but with things going on at Warner Bros. Right now, I highly doubt that movie is still going to go through, just depending on what Discovery does once Warner Brothers is acquired by Discovery. So until we know that information, we'll just assume that Static Shock is still in the pipeline, and hopefully that movie comes out, because I am clamoring for that movie. And also, side note, I don't like the fact that they changed Static's origin in the comics at all. I love that character to death, but I still don't like the fact that they changed that boy's origin. But that's a video for another day. Superman and the shield on his chest is not just one person. It's an ideal. It's the ideal of hope and justice. No matter what the skin tone is, anybody can wear that shield, no matter if you're male or female, black or white. But a black Clark Kent is not something we should strive for in a character or in a movie. Especially since you have a slew of other characters, not just in Superman's lore, that can fit a Superman of color, and that are unique characters on their own. Similar to that of Miles Morales, Calvin Ellis and Val Zod has proven themselves to be unique characters on their own, and not just carbon copies of their predecessor, though they are not as well known as the famous new Spider-Man. And I feel like this is a huge missed opportunity to sort of give them the spotlight they need in order to give them that recognition by the mainstream audience. If you want to do a period piece movie with a Superman of color, Calvin Ellis or Icon will be your best choices as far as Superman character or a Superman-like character goes. But if you want just a black Superman and a passing of the torch, then Val Zod is the best option. And though I would like to see Val Zod and Calvin Ellis up on the big screen, I think Icon would be a much better choice, as Dwayne McDuffie's characters do need a lot more of exposure to the mainstream audience, and especially since Milestone has had a huge impact on the comic book industry in the past few decades. And I also think Static Shock is a good start of having those characters exposed to the mainstream audience, especially since Dwayne McDuffie is no longer around to sort of do that himself. That's going to be it from me. What are your thoughts on the subject matter? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree? Let me know in the comments below. I hope you guys have a nice day. I hope you guys are being safe. Peace out. Take care of yourselves.